Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is November 8th, 2022. It's on Tuesday and sunny outside. Are you still skeptical of the news? Are you still skeptical of the rumor? Are you still skeptical of whatever I say? Are you skeptical of whatever the news tells? Are you skeptical of whatever the TV programs say? Are you skeptical of whatever news tells, news informs, news informs, news informs? Are you skeptical of whatever the news informs? Are you skeptical of whatever the news informs? Do you know about trust barometer? Trust barometer. Trust barometer. Do you know how often the trust barometer takes places? Do you know how often the trust barometer is conducted? Do you know how often the trust barometer is conducted? Do you know how often the trust barometer is conducted? Trust barometer. Do you know how often the trust barometer is conducted? Do you know how often the trust barometer is conducted? Do you know how often the trust barometer is conducted? Do you know how often the trust barometer is conducted? Do you know how often the trust barometer is conducted? Trust barometer. 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 Do you know how often the trust barometer is conducted? In the company, in the region, in the country. In my university, male students occupied about 60% in the share of the population, in the share of the whole population. Male students consisted of the male students occupied about 60% in the share of the whole population in my university. In the share of the students, male students occupy about 60%. In the share of the whole students, male students occupy about 60%. In the share of the whole students, male students occupy about 60%. In the share of the rooms, about 50% are occupied every day. In the share of the rooms in the hotel, about 50% of them are occupied every day. I try to save about 30% of my income. Monthly. Do you also trying to do that? I also try to do that. Fushimi Inari used to be ranked first in the share of the ranking of the site. But I haven't checked the recent ranking of the tourist spots, so I'm not sure now. It came in first again. It might have coming first again. I'm not sure. Please check it. But Fushimi Inari Shrine kept the first for a long time as a ranking of the tourist spot where foreign tourists want to go. Female workers decline in the share of the whole workforce. Female workers are declining in the share of the workforce. Female workers are declining in the company in the share of workforce. Watching YouTube videos is increasing in the share of the time in a day. Watching YouTube videos is increasing for me in the share of the time spent in a day. Watching YouTube videos is increasing. The time for watching YouTube videos is increasing in the share of the time spent in a day. You should increase the time of the study in the share of the time spent in a day. You should increase the time for the study more in the share of the time in a day. You should increase the time for the study in the share of the day. In the share of the day, in the share of the time spent in a day, you should increase the time for the study. You should increase the hours of study in the share of the time spent in a day. You should increase the time for the study in the share of the time spent in a day. You should increase the time for studying in the share of the time spent in a day. You should increase the time for studying in the share of the time spent in a day. The time for watching YouTube videos is increasing in the share of the time spent in a day for me. The time for watching a TV is declining, diminishing in the share of the time spent in a day. The time for watching a TV is declining, diminishing, going down in the share of the time spent in a day. The time for watching a TV is decreasing in the share of the time spent in a day. The number of employees hired from the halfway is increasing in the share of the workforce. The number of employees hired from halfway is increasing in the share of the workforce. The gap between the executives and employees regarding the payment might be enlarging. In the share of the payments, the gap between the executives and employees might be enlarging. In the share of the day, I spent most of the time studying. I spent most of the day studying in the share of the day. I spent the day studying. I spent most of the day studying in the share of the day. I spent most of the time in a day studying in the share of the day. I spent most of the time in a day studying in the share of the day. In the share of the workforce, 80% is occupied by the male workers. In the share of the workforce, male workers occupy about 80%. The executive members are discussing restructuring its society. The executive members of the company are discussing restructuring. The CEO of the company has been determined to conduct a restructure for the company. The CEO of the company has been determined to restructure its corporate system drastically. With the advancement of technologies, including AI and robots, many jobs might be cut. Many jobs might be cut down on. According to the survey, more and more people are watching TV less. Are you skeptical of the survey? Are you skeptical of the survey? Did you used to highlight keywords in the textbooks? Did you used to underline keywords in the textbook? Did you used to underline keywords in the textbooks? I saw some books decorated with many underlines, which surprised me a lot. I sometimes came across textbooks, underlined a lot. Did you used to highlight keywords by underlying keywords in the textbooks? Before the summer vacation started, some of the teachers highlighted the importance of the life and told us not to lose our lives. It is said that the Pure Land Garden of Byodo-in Temple in Kyoto expresses the Buddhist paradise. I'd like to express my feelings by music, by my art. I'd like to express my feelings with music. I'd like to express my feelings in English. We have different dialects in each region, which is an interesting part for traveling. Each region has a different dialect, which is the interesting part of traveling. Each region has a different local traditional food, which is a part of interesting, which is a part of which is the interesting part of traveling. The the train has been suspended for an emergency, so it might take a while until the operation resumes. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, please ask me. Feel free to ask me. I will keep you updated. Some people prefer quantity to quality, while others don't. Meanwhile, others don't. Some people prefer quantity to quality. Meanwhile, others are the reverse. Many companies lost many profits in the pandemic. Meanwhile, there are some companies who got many benefits from the pandemic. I had difficulty in getting the qualifications a lot. Meanwhile, I could grow up so much. I had difficulty in getting the qualifications. Meanwhile, I could grow so much. It took 8 years to get the qualifications and I had many troubles. Meanwhile, I could grow up thanks to the difficulties. The machines can produce 100 units of the product a day, constantly. I'd like to produce something which the universe will be surprised at. The machine can keep producing the products constantly. So, more and more advanced technologies, including AIs and robots, will replace us as a new workforce. The future robots and AIs will replace us as a new workforce. The flashlight is getting dim. I have to replace the old batteries with new ones. The sensor light is getting dim. I need to replace the old batteries with new ones. I was told to put more trust in me. I was told to put trust in me. Have you tried investment trust? Investment trust. Have you tried investment trust? 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 It can be risky. Everything can be risky. Have you tried investment trust? Investment trust is different from gambling. It's totally different, utterly different. What do you think of investment trust? Investment trust. Investment trust. Have you tried investment trust? Investment trust. Investment trust. Have you tried investment trust? Have you tried investment trust? What do you think of investment trust? Investment trust. Investment trust. Are you familiar with investment trust? 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 Investment trust. Investment trust. Investment trust. Have you tried investment trust? Investment trust. Investment trust. Investment trust. Investment trust. Investment trust. Investment trust. Do you think I should start the investment trust? Do you think it is the time I started investment trust? Do you think it's time, it's high time, it's about time I started investment trust? Investment trust. If you keep telling a lie, no one will trust you. If you keep telling lies, if you keep telling lies, if you keep telling lies, if you continue to tell lies, if you continue telling a lie, no one will trust you. After I was deceived by the fraudulent company, I don't trust anyone. I am starting to trusting you with time. I'm starting to be skeptical of you. I am starting to be skeptical of you. Skeptical of you. I'm starting to become skeptical of you. I'm starting to become skeptical of you. I'm starting to get skeptical of you. I'm starting to be skeptical of you. Can you trust? Can you trust? Can you trust in me? 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 I'd like to develop a trustful relationship with him. The company A tried to create a trustful relationship with the company B. The company A aims at creating a trustful relationship with the company B at the meeting today, at the negotiation today, for the business contract. It can take time for each other to create a trustful relationship. It can take time for each other to create a trustful relationship. Trustful. I'd like to make a trustful relationship, create a trustful relationship with you. It can take time for each other to create a trustful relationship. Trustful. It can take time for each other to create a trustful relationship. Trustful. It can take time for each other to create a trustful relationship. It can take time for each other to create a trustful relationship. It can be faster and slower later. Trustful. All of the employees showed trustful attitude in front of the boss. All of the employees showed respectful and trustful attitude toward the boss. Trustful. His trustful mind was obvious from the tone of his voice. His trustful mind and thought was obvious from his tone of voice. Trustful. Trustful. The company A aims at creating a trustful relationship with the company B for the long-term contract. The company A aims at developing a trustful relationship with the company B for the long-term contract. Trustful. trustful, trustful, trustful relationship, trustful relationship. It can take time for each other to create a trustful relationship. It can take time for each other to create a trustful relationship. It takes time. It can take time for each other to create a trustful relationship. Trustful relationship. It can take time for each other to create a trustful relationship. Trustful relationship. Relation. Trustful. 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 Every employee showed trustful attitude in front of the boss, in his boss, in their boss, in their boss's presence, in their boss's presence. Trustful. He expressed his trustful attitude toward his boss. He showed his trustful feelings toward the boss. He showed his trustful feelings to the boss. He showed his trustful feelings to the teachers at the graduation ceremony. He showed his trustful feelings toward the teachers at the graduation ceremony. He expressed his trustful feelings toward the teachers at the graduation ceremony. He showed his trustful feelings to the teachers at the graduation ceremony. He showed his trustful feelings to the teachers at the graduation ceremony. Trustful relation. The company A aims at creating a trustful relationship with the company B. The company A aims at developing a trustful relationship with the company B. Trustful relationship. We created a trustful relationship when we were an elementary school student. We created our trustful relationship when we were elementary school students. We created a trustful relationship when we were elementary school students. Trustful relationship. Is he really trustworthy? Is the information really trustworthy? I'm still skeptical of the information. Is it really trustworthy? Is the information 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 really trustworthy? Trustworthy. Is the relation? Is the information really trustworthy? 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 Trustworthy. He is not trustworthy. She is trustworthy. There are There is little trustworthy information out there. There is little trustworthy information out there. There is little transformation out there. Little is there trustworthy information. Little is there trustworthy information. Little is there trustful information. Trustworthy information. Little is there 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 trustworthy information. Trustworthy. 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 Do you think it is a corporate responsibility? Each corporate has its own policy, rule, and so on. All of the employees have to adhere to the corporate policy. Corporate policy. All of the employees have to follow the corporate policy. And compliance, of course. All of the employees have to adhere to, stick with, keep to, obey the corporate policy. Rules. All of the employees have to follow the corporate rules. All of the employees have to stick with, keep to, follow, obey, adhere to the corporate rules. Corporate responsibility. In the corporate responsibility, those who are not related to the mistakes have to have the responsibility for that. Corporate responsibility. In the corporate responsibility, those who are not related to the mistakes also have to be responsible for that. In the corporate responsibility, those who are not related to the mistakes have to be held for the mistakes. Have to be held responsibility for the mistakes. In the corporate responsibility, those who are not related to the mistakes also have to be responsible for those. By doing that, everybody will be more cautious, careful. Corporate responsibility. Some departments adopt corporate responsibility. My department used to adopt corporate responsibility. Corporate responsibility. Corporate responsibility. Cooperation and cooperation. Confuse me. I often confuse cooperation with cooperation. I often confuse cooperation and cooperation. It sounds similar, so which confuses me a lot. I often confuse curve and curve. I often confuse curve and curve. I often confuse curve with curve. I often confuse cooperation with cooperation. 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 Corporate. Corporate responsibility. Corporate responsibility. Corporate responsibility. Does your department adopt corporate responsibility? For example, one of your colleagues speeded on the road. Are you also responsible for that? Does your department adopt corporate responsibility? For example, one of the employees in your department speed on the road and punished. Are you also responsible for that? Corporate, corporate, corporate. Is it corporate? Is the factory corporate? Is the shop corporate? Is the building corporate? Is the building corporate? Is the building corporate? There are many corporates out there. There are many corporates everywhere. Corporates, corporates, corporates. There are many corporates. Corporates, corporate, corporates. There are many 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 corporates. Cooperation and cooperation. Cooperation and cooperation. I often confuse cooperation with cooperation. 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 A trading corporation. One of my friends working for a trading corporation. A trading corporation. A trading corporation. A trading corporation. A trading company. A trading company. A trading department. Merchandise department. Purchase department. A trading corporation. Corporation. A trading 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 corporation. There are some trading corporations near the port. Are you working for a trading corporation? Trading corporation. Are you working for a trading corporation? Are you working for a trading corporation? There are also many religious corporations. Are you familiar with the tax systems of a religious corporation? How is the tax system like regarding the religious corporation? How is the tax system like regarding the religious corporation? How is the tax system like regarding a religious corporation? How is the tax system of a religious corporation like? How are the tax systems of the religious corporations like? How is the tax system of a religious corporation like? a religious corporation. There are also many religious corporations out there. Religious corporation. A religious corporation. How is the tax system of a religious corporation like? I'm not familiar with it, so I'd like to know. I'd like to ask how the tax system of a religious corporation is like. I'd like to ask how the tax system of the religious corporation is like. I'd like to ask how the tax system of a religious corporation is like. I'd like to ask how the tax system of a religious corporation is like. I'd like to ask how the tax system of a religious corporation is like. One of my friends working for a public relations department in the prefectural office. One of my friends is working at the public relations department in the prefectural office. Public relations. What do you usually do? What do you usually do at the public relations department? Public relations department. What do you usually do at the public relations department? What do you usually do? What do you usually do at the public relations department? What do you usually do at the public relations department? Public relations. Public relations is very important in this era. We can promote ourselves through SNS. So now everyone can promote ourselves through SNS, social networking service. So public relations becoming easier for ordinary people to do. Public relations are becoming easier for ordinary people to do. Public relations. 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 The relation between you and me should be kept secret. The relation between you and me should be kept secret. He was assigned to the Research and Development Department. He was first assigned to the Research and Development Department. He was first assigned to Research and Development Department. He was first assigned to the Research and Development Department. Research and Development. 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 He was first assigned to the Research and Development Department. He was first assigned to the Research and Development. He was first assigned to the Research and Development. He was first assigned to the Research and Development. He was first assigned to the Research and Development. The things are decided at the executive committee. The things will be decided at the executive committee. The things will be decided at the executive committee. Do you want to be an executive? Do you want to be an executive? The executive members were gathered suddenly by the CEO to discuss crucial matters. The things will be decided at the executive committee. Executive committee. Executive committee. The things will be decided at the executive committee. Executive committee. Executive committee. Things will be decided at the executive committee. 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 Nothing was decided at today's executive committee. Nothing was decided at today's executive committee. Executive committee. Executive committee. Nothing was decided at today's executive committee. Nothing was decided at today's executive committee. Executive. 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 Nothing was decided at today's executive committee. Executive committee. Those companies ranked top 10 in the past. Will not rank in the top 10 today. Those companies ranked top 10 which the graduates want to enter might not rank in the top 10 in the future. The companies rank in the top 10 which the graduates wanna enter might not rank in the future. The companies ranking in the top 10 which the graduates wanna enter might not rank in the future. The companies ranked in the top 10 which the university graduates wanna enter might not rank in the future. In the TV program, the comedian ranks the taste of the food in each shop. In the website, the author of the website ranks the taste of the ramen in each restaurant from his perspective. In the website, he ranks the tourist spots from his perspective. In the website, the author ranks the tourist spots from his perspective, from his viewpoint. And in the website, the author of the website ranks the tourist spots from his perspective. Do you like to rank everything? I don't like to be ranked. I don't want everything to be ranked. The University of Tokyo is always ranked first regarding the difficulty to enter. The University of Tokyo is ranked first regarding the difficulty to enter. The University of Tokyo is ranked first regarding the difficulty to enter in Japan. Some companies are ranked in the top 10, which the university graduates wanna enter. The companies ranked the top 10, which university graduates now wanna enter, might not rank in the future. The companies ranking in the top 10, which the university graduates wanna enter now, might not rank in the future. Some companies rank in the top 10 companies which graduates wanna enter. The companies ranked in the top 10, which graduates wanna enter now, might not be ranked in the future, because our value, interest, are changing. The companies ranking in the top 10, which the graduates wanna enter now, might not rank in the top 10 in the future. Those companies ranked in the top 10, which the graduates wanna enter now, might not be ranked in the top 10 in the future, because our interests are changing and our values are also changing. Some companies ranked in the top 10 don't rank in the top 10 now. The companies ranked in used to be ranked in the top 10 companies which graduates wanted to enter. Don't be ranked. It's not ranked now. I don't want to be ranked. I don't want everything to be ranked. I don't want to be ranked. I don't want everything to be ranked. I don't want everything to be ranked. I would not like everything to be ranked. I would not like everything to be ranked. I would like you to be a star. I would like you to be a star. I would like you to be a star. I would like you to succeed in your business. I want you to succeed in the business. I want you to succeed in the business. I want you to succeed in the business. I really want you to succeed in the business. I really would like you to succeed in the business. I really would like you to succeed in the business. I really would like you to succeed in the business. So good luck. The GDP of Japan used to have been ranked in as the second, but China surpassed recently. So Japan comes in the third regarding the GDP now. The GDP of Japan ranked in the third, but it was surpassed by China recently. The GDP of Japan ranked the second, and now it is ranked third. The GDP of Japan ranked second, but now it ranks in the third. It ranks third. The GDP of Japan used to be ranked second, but now it is ranked third. The GDP of Japan used to be ranked second, but it is now ranked third. The GDP of Japan used to be ranked second, but it is now ranked third. The GDP of Japan used to be ranked third, but now it is ranked third. The GDP of Japan used to be ranked the second, but now it is ranked third. The GDP of Japan ranked second, but now it ranks third. The GDP of Japan ranked second, but now it ranks the third. In the website, the author of it ranks the tourist spot from his perspective. In the website, the author of the website ranks the tourist spot he visited from his perspective. Each tourist spot ranks from the author's perspective. in this website. In this website, each tourist spot ranks by the author from his perspective in this website. In this website, the author ranks each tourist spot he visited from his perspective. In this website, each tourist spot ranks by the author's perspective. Each tourist spot ranks from the author's perspective. Each tourist spot ranks from the author's perspective. Each tourist spot ranks from the author's perspective. Each tourist spot ranks by the author from his perspective. Each tourist spot ranks by the author from his perspective in this website. Do you care ranks? There are ranks according to your strength in sumo. The grand champion or yokozuna is the highest. There are ranks according to the strength in sumo. Yokozuna or the grand champion is the highest. Whenever I go to a tourist spot for the first time, I usually check the ranking of the tourist spot from websites. Whenever I go to a new tourist spot, I check the ranking of tourist spots of that place. Whenever I go to a new tourist spot, I check the ranking of the tourist spots in the region. Whenever I go to a new tourist spot, I usually check the ranking of the tourist spots in the region. Whenever I go to a new tourist spot, I usually check the ranking of the tourist spots in the region to get information and to take the tour smoothly and to obtain more knowledge. Do you also want to be a ranking composer of music? Do you want to be a composer? Do you want to be a ranking composer? Do you want to be a ranking composer? Ranking. Do you want to be a ranking composer? Entering ranking companies do not necessarily mean you are happy. Having a lot of money does not necessarily mean you are happy. Accumulating a lot of money does not necessarily mean you are happy with that. Entering ranking companies, entering a ranking company does not necessarily mean you are happy. Entering a ranking company does not necessarily mean you are happy. Good. Entering a ranking company does not necessarily mean you are happy. Ranking. Entering a ranking company does not necessarily mean you are happy. Entering a ranking company does not necessarily mean you are happy. What is the definition of a ranking person? What is the definition of a ranking person? Does he or she exist? Does this kind of he or she exist? All of the merchandise in this store are handmade by the craftsmen. Ranking craftsmen. Ranking craftsmen. All of the merchandise sold here are handmade by leading ranking craftsmen. Ranking. All of the merchandise sold in this store are handmade by the craftsmen. By the ranking craftsmen. Ranking. By the ranking craftsmen. Ranking. Ranking craftsmen. Ranking. By the ranking craftsmen. Ranking. By the ranking craftsmen. All of the merchandise sold in this store are handmade by the ranking craftsmen. Ranking. Do you also want to enter ranking company? Ranking company. Do you want to enter a ranking company? Do you want to enter ranking company? Are you eager to enter ranking company? Are you anxious to enter a ranking company? Would you like to enter a ranking company? Would you like to be a ranking composer? Would you like to be a ranking pianist? Would you like to be a ranking violinist? Cellist? Entering a ranking company does not necessarily mean you are happy. Getting excellent academic accomplishments in schools does not mean you are excellent. Does not necessarily mean you are excellent. I bet many university graduates aim at entering ranking companies. I bet many graduates aim at entering ranking companies. Ranking. Ranking chef. Do you want to be a ranking chef? All of the cuisines in this restaurant are so great because they are cooked by the ranking chef. The ranking chef. All of the cuisines in this restaurant are awesome, very tasty, because they are all cooked by the ranking chef. Ranking. Do you know what CEO stands for? CEO stands for. Do you know what CEO stands for? Do you know what CEO stands for? Do you know what CEO stands for? CEO stands for Chief Executive Officer. Chief Executive Officer. Chief Executive Officer. Chief Executive Officer. And do you know what CFO stands for? Do you know what CFO stands for? CFO stands for Chief Financial Officer. Chief Financial Officer. Chief Financial Officer. CFO stands for Chief Financial Officer. CFO stands for Chief Financial Officer. CFO stands for Chief Financial Officer. Excuse me. Does the price of the tour include breakfast and hotels? Excuse me, I'd like to know if the price of the tour cover the insurance cost. Is the tour insured? Is the tour insured? I'd like to know if the price of the tour is insured. Cover the insurance cost. I'd like to know if the price of the tour covers the insurance cost. If not, I'd like to insure the tour just in case. Okay. Does the price written on the tag cover the consumption tax? I'd like to know, does the price written on the price tag cover the consumption tax? Consumption tax. I really like the appearance of Mount Fuji covered with snow. I really like the appearance of the Mount Fuji covered with snow. It's very beautiful. It's worthy of watching. It's worth seeing, worth looking at. It is worth looking at. The inclusive tour covers everything, including hotels, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and pick up at the airport and seeing off at the airport. Please do not forget to cover the gadgets after the usage to avoid getting dust on it. I think more and more salaried workers are covering their salaries with side work. I think more and more salaried workers will have side work to cover their living cost. I think more and more salaried workers will have side work in order to cover the living cost and casual expenses. The detectives are trying to bring out the secrets from the refugees. They think the criminal is covering up more secrets or crimes. We are arriving at the destination, but unfortunately, the pavilion is covered with blue sheet and because it is under maintenance. It's a pity that you cannot see the pavilion today, but please look at this picture. This is the appearance of the pavilion. Although we cannot see the appearance of the pavilion, this garden is very spacious and there are more things to see, so I'm sure you will be satisfied with it. And we can enjoy the atmosphere near the pavilion. So, let's go. Some of the university students are obliged to have a part-time job to cover the tuition fees. Some of the university students are forced to work so as to cover the tuition fees. Some of the students are forced to work in order to cover the tuition fees. Does the price cover the consumption tax? Does the price include consumption tax? Does the price of the tour cover the insurance cost? Does the price of the tour cover the breakfast and hotels? Does the price of the tour cover consumption tax? Does the price of the price tag cover the consumption tax? Does the price in the price tag on the price tag cover the consumption tax? Excuse me, does the price in the price tag cover the consumption tax? Excuse me, I'd like to know if the price tag, the price on the price tag cover the consumption tax. Yes, it includes. Excuse me, is the price in the price on the price tag cover? Does the price on the price tag cover the consumption tax? Excuse me, does the price on the price tag cover the consumption tax? Yes, it includes. Okay, I will buy this. Thank you. Excuse me, I'd like to buy this one in large size. Do you have this one in large size? Unfortunately, we don't have the large size in stock. But if you buy the middle size, we can give you 20% discount because we are on sale now. Let me think. Don't even try to cover up your mistake. It's obvious. We know. We all know the mistake. So it's not possible to cover up your mistake. Don't even try to cover up your mistake. Many things, many mistakes must be covered up by him. I'm sure many accidents are being covered up. The detectives guess the criminal is covering up more crimes. The detectives predicts that the criminal is covering up more crimes. The neighborhoods predict that the rich man is covering up tremendous amount of money in somewhere. The rich man is believed to be covering up extraordinary amount of money somewhere. It is believed that the rich man is covering up tremendous amount of money somewhere. It is said treasure is covered up in the mountain. Treasure troves are rumored to be hidden, covered up in the mountain. Treasure, a lot of treasures are believed to be covered up in the mountain. It is believed that a lot of treasures are covered up in the mountain. I'd like to buy a cute cover on the bench. I'd like to buy a cute cover for the bench. I'd like to buy a cute cover for the table. I'd like to buy a cute cover for my futon. I'd like to buy a cute cover for my pillow. I'd like to buy a cute cover for my pillow. I'd like to buy a cotton cover for my pillow. I'd like to buy a cotton cover for my pillow. Pillow cover. Blanket cover. Quilt cover. I'd like to buy a cotton cover for my pillow. I'd like to buy a cotton cover for my pillow. It took more time than average people for me to mature. It took much longer than usual. It took much longer than average people for me to mature. It took much longer than usual. It took much longer than average people for me to. It took much longer than average people for me to mature. How do you tell the difference between matured and immatured fruits? The color? All of the fruits here are matured enough, so please harvest all of them. Okay? Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.